together this deluxe wreath kit in honor of America's birthday. We have so much in this kit. This is why I've called this a deluxe kit. There's a lot going. We have this established USA 1776 sign. This is a 12-inch metal sign. It also comes with the metallic red frame that you see here. This has 18 ties on this, so our mesh is going to have to cut 18 pieces. We have beautiful ribbons. We have this USA ribbon, which is flocked on the edge. Then we have this red, white, and blue diagonal stripe ribbon. And then we have this really pretty, we call this fancy panty ribbon. It is scalloped edge, but this is almost like a denim blue with the red edge. I am in love with this. Now, when we make our bow, we're primarily, I think, going to use this one, okay? We'll talk about that in a minute. Over here on the side, we have our mesh. I have already cut most of this mesh. It is cut at 18 inches. And this is what it looks like. We have two of them. I'm going to finish cutting them over here. We have this one, which is a very pretty red with a metallic border stripe in red, white, and blue. And then we have this is a vertical stripe mesh. It's got red, white, and blue as well. Now, both of these are available for sale. The mesh is available in my shop by itself, but you can also get it with this kit. But that's not all with the goodies. What else is in this kit? We have 3 sets of red, white, and blue glitter picks. So cute. We have 2 sets of patriotic greenery. Now, we in the biz call this 60919 as the SKU number that it used to be. That's not what it is anymore. But this is available by itself in my shop as well. But I have 2 pieces of that in this kit. We're going to have greenery. And then we have red, white, and blue roses. We're just kind of put them a little here, sprinkle it kind of throughout. It's going to be nice and fun. All right, so I'm going to put the greenery and everything all aside for the moment. Going, I guess, behind me. All right, the picks, the sign all going behind me, as well as the ribbon. We don't need that right now. We're going to focus and talk about mesh. So if you are new to wreath making, this is 10-inch tall deco mesh. Now, we love deco mesh. It is our friend. But this is 10 inches now. There are 18 pieces or 18 ties on this frame. So I have cut, well, I will need 18 pieces. I think I have 16 cut already. I'm going to show you how I cut it. So in the interest of time, if you are able to, you can stack these meshes on top of each other. You'll see over on the side here, I do have a mesh roller. Facebook probably can't see it, but I've got a mesh roller over here that has the mesh it's holding onto it for me. So I'm going to pull it out to 18 inches. You can either just cut up 18 inches with a pair of scissors, or if you have a rotary cutter, like I do, you can just roll right up. Keep your finger good. All right. And then I like to lay them on top of each other. We're going to put 2 pieces of mesh, 2 ruffles in each set of ties. Having it layered on top of itself, I have 1 stack to work with, because then I'm going to have the border stripe piece and the vertical stripe mesh, and then the border piece and a vertical stripe. So we're just going to go right down this stack. Makes it a lot easier when you put your mesh onto your wreath frame. Now, I typically should be able to get 19 pieces of mesh off of this roll. I just like to cut the extra. You never know if you're going to find a splice in the middle of your roll, so it's always good to have extra. If you cut larger than 18 inches, you're probably going to need more mesh because you won't have enough to make 18 pieces. Okay, so on the end here, it's gonna catch on the staples that are holding it on to the cardboard tubes. And we save the cardboard tubes, my friends, save it all. They are great for holding on to your extra floral stems that you have picked off of things. But I'm going to pull this down. It's going to go through my mesh roller. All right, and I'm going to bring this over. We're going to cut our last piece here at 18 inches. Okay, again, 18 pieces of mesh cut at 18 inches a piece. Nice and stacked. I'm going to move this off to the side, give ourselves some more room Ah, the mesh just curled up on its own. Did you guys see that? That was funny. There's a ghost. No. It's the ghost of mesh rolls past. I do, however, just to keep it from rolling off, I keep it a clear bin. Just so I can keep it on here. That way it's not going to go flying off the end of my table. Okay? So I'm going to put my mesh over here. Always retract your blade. Ask me how I know. I still have a scar. All right, we're going to come over here. I'm going to take the tag off of this wreath. This frame is also available in my shop for Sweet Aria Decor. D-O-T-C-O-M. If I say it, Facebook isn't going to like it. All right, but I do have a link for it that should be showing up on the Facebook video. And if you're watching this video overhead, you've either bought this kit or you're on YouTube watching this, and I appreciate that. Okay, we're going to pull these pieces out and get my frame all set. I like to pull these out. Now, I start on the bottom, so the inside ones I can kind of push down to the middle. We're going to start on the outside. So I like to make what's called a cruffle with this mesh. I'm going to grab my first piece, okay? You see how it wants to curl up like that, right? We're going to embrace that. We're going to let it do that, and we're going to pull it apart like this, okay? Now, I like to start from the top sometimes, so I'm going to bend it down about an inch, and then go 1 and 2. Bend it up an inch on the bottom, 1 and 2. Having the cut ends inside the curls here is going to keep it from fraying further, and you're not going to end up with those little nylon strings all over, okay? So once you've got it like this, we are going to go up the center, gather it up, and you're going to get what looks like a piece of farfalle bow tie pasta, okay? Perfect little curl. I'm going to put that in here for now, because we're going to talk order. How do we want to do this? In what order? Well, I think let's cruffle up this one. 1, 2, 3. This is a beautiful mesh. I love the vertical stripe, is amazing. So, do we want to have the vertical stripe on top and the border stripe on the bottom? Or, so that would be, let me put it in here. We can decide. And this is your kit. So if you're making this, you can do however you want. That and that. Or we could reverse it and have it go vertical stripe on the bottom and border stripe on the top. And you notice I'm putting them in there in an X shape. Okay, so I want that and that diagonal coverage and this diagonal coverage. What do I feel is the best way that I want to show this off? And I think, my friends, I want that red border stripe to be on the top, okay? So I'm going to pull one off. That way, when I kind of start going through the rest of these, I'll be starting with a border stripe. So I think we're going to go this way. You can alternate in either one. So I could start with the border stripe on the bottom and then the vertical on the top here and just switch every other one. Or you can always keep the metallic border stripe on the top. I think that's what I'm going to do. Let me go check my comments. Darla, hello. Hello. Kathy, hi. Robin, yay. I know I saw your order. Robin, thank you so much. Linda, my friend Vicky in Canada, my local friend Tina, Gloria. You know, Linda and Tina, I've got to do something with that local crafters group for the Chicago area. We need to meet. We need to meet up. I've got to get that done. Okay, so now let's move on. We're going to keep going through here. Now, making the base. This is not the super fun part of wreath making, my friends. Nobody really enjoys making wreath bases, right? We like to embellish it. We like to add the ribbon, all the fun stuff. That doesn't happen right now. We have to get there. We have to get there. All right? So I will try to go as fast as I can. Again, curl 1 inch down from the top and then roll, roll, roll. Bend an inch and then roll, roll, roll. Okay? Just make sure those ends are inside. All right? Then we cruffle it up. You can almost hear that scraping sound, right? Okay, and then this is going to go this way. Okay, so we have our X shape. And give it a nice tug. Now, don't cut these off or anything because we're going to be opening these back up to put the ribbon in, okay? When we're all done, if you don't like looking at them, you can bend it back in. I think they're fun. They add a little touch of whimsy. They're like metallic stripe. I think it's fun. I like to leave them. But that is my personal preference. And again, This is your wreath. You do what you want to do, my friend. All right, so there's 10 of these on the bottom. So let's go quick. It's so nice having it in a bin. Every time I go live, I'm so worried that it's going to go flying off the other side of the table, and then I'll have to go around. And it does do that to me a lot. But I found an empty bin finally. So, very happy to be using that today. Okay. Now with these frames, you can also go in with a 21-inch mesh and do poofs and then add in just some curls. You can take these and you could also just do some curls with this. So if I curl this all the way up, you can just do 2 of those curls and put them in there as well. That's not going to make it full though, so I would do a curl as an accent on maybe a poof wreath, but I wouldn't necessarily do by itself unless you're adding perhaps a 3rd type of mesh, okay? Which, again, you can do. It's your wreath, baby. It's your wreath. Do what you want to do. Yeah. I won't sing anymore, I promise. That's the fun thing about a kit. You get the stuff, but everybody does it a little bit differently. So it's always fun to see what different people will do with the exact same materials. It just highlights the fact that everybody has their own sense of creativity and fun. And I love to share that love of crafting. That is why I do what I do. It makes me happy to see other people happy. Right? It's like on Christmas morning, I love opening presents. I don't necessarily like opening my presents. I mean, I do. But I get so much joy watching people open the presents that I have picked for them. I love that. That is my favorite part of the year. Here we go. All right. Let me get the metallic piece next. Just rolling it up over here on the side and try to come back into, make sure I'm in the better view over here on Facebook. It's hard trying to record things 2 places at once, but I figure why not. The reason I had to do this tutorial is I have sold a lot of this kit over the weekend. I just released it, and I sold almost more than half my kits of this already. I'm going to have to make more and probably order more product, which is a good problem to have. I don't mind. But I also like to have an instruction sheet, and for something this large with different things to put in there, this is a little different than my other kits, so I wanted to have a video available when people go live, or when they go to make their wreath. So that's why we're making this one today. Going in with our ruffles, and actually it's a cruffle. It's a part curl. You get the CR from the curl, or the C from the curl, and then put it in front of ruffle, and you get cruffle. If you had a problem with this, would it be a cruffle kerfuffle? I'll stop. That was bad. Sorry. Oh my gosh, that was a funny one. No, it wasn't, Linda. Nobody's laughing. All right. Oh, Robin says it's going to be 80 degrees today. No way. 80 degrees is fantastic. Wow. Oh. I tell you, I would trade you in a heartbeat. I haven't been outside later this morning. This morning, I ran out really, really quickly because we overslept and my daughter was late for school. So that was my bad. I had my phone on silent, so the alarm didn't go off. Thank God I had to pee when I did this morning, and we would have still been sleeping at 9 o'clock. All right. This is coming around. This is looking so good. I do have thin patriotic wreaths in my shop as well, because I know not everybody has a storm door, or a door that will accommodate this. If we have storm doors, it's hard to get wreaths that will fit. So making some thin patriotic wreaths. If you're a wreath maker and you live in a cold area with storm doors, this might be a good seller. I have a feeling patriotic is going to be very, very big this year. I think that whatever is going on politically, aside from that, we need to celebrate our country, having its birthday. Because I think that's a huge deal, right? Now, how big is the cake going to be? That's what I want to know. If America's having a birthday, how big of a cake are we getting? Which kind of reminds me I need to order my daughter's birthday cake for next Sunday. Okay, good thing we talked about cake, guys. Thank you. So right now as I'm filming this, it is February. You might be closer to spring or early summer by the time you see this, if you get the kit or you're watching this on YouTube. Right now it's February, it's cold, and here in Chicago we're all just miserable and over this cold. So it's fun to make things for the seasons ahead of time, like Easter and spring, because it gives us hope that we won't always be stuck in this Groundhog Day of hellish weather. Okay, this is the last one on the bottom layer. Okay. Oh, Gloria says it's 20 in Maryland. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that kind of sounds like it is here. That's not fun, guys. Nobody likes this weather. All right, rolling this up. Put that one in, give it a twist. Now go for the metallic. I'm trying to go as fast as I can. If you're watching this on a replay and you know how to put mesh in, you can skip this part. Just fast forward. I mean, I would appreciate you watching to the end, but just fast forward. You don't need this. Okay, so here is what this wreath looks like with just the bottom layer of mesh, okay? So we are looking at a depth of about 6 inches, okay? Now we are going to go inside, and there are 8 spots on the inside, okay? And again, I'm gonna do the vertical stripe up from the bottom, down from the top. That's typically how I do it, up from the bottom and down from the top. Everybody's got their own way of doing things. Here we go. This is gonna be a fun one. All right. Smash together. 7 more to go. I still want to make sure that I'm doing that X shape in here. It's going to be fun adding the greenery. I do struggle with it. It's hard sometimes to add greenery into a mesh wreath. You've got to rely on glue. It's not like a grapevine where it's going to have a good, nice, secure place to stick. So sometimes I will open up the little ties and twist things into there. But I don't think I'm going to be doing that on this wreath. I am excited, though, to use all that pretty greenery. Now, the rose bushes, I will tell you, those are not in my shop. I ordered those from Craft Outlet. I ordered enough to put in the kits. I actually tried to find somewhere wholesale that I could get it less expensive, but it wasn't less expensive. Craft Outlet had the best price. So that was helpful. But you can get the greenery, you can get the mesh. I have a huge assortment of patriotic ribbons as well. Not necessarily ones that are in kits, but like the diagonal stripe one I have a lot of. So I put together a shelving unit over the weekend in my garage to hold a lot of the cardboard boxes for some lightweight picks. Boy, I'm glad it's lightweight because the storage thing I ordered is not the most solid or secure. I should have spent the extra money and got one that was more stable, so live and learn. But it's okay for what it's holding. It's just holding picks, but I guess you get enough boxes of picks together and it starts to get heavy. Okay, there we go. Ooh, that one wanted to come curling up my hands. Here we go. All right. Down on the bottom. Metallic on the top. Linda's already thinking about what she's going to have for lunch when she's done. I don't know. Probably what I usually make. Chicken patty and tater tots. I eat like a toddler, and I make no apologies for it. I like what I like. All right, just a couple more. We're almost done with the mesh. Hang in there. We're doing. All right. Again, up from the bottom. I wish I had a deeper table. I don't really have the room for it in my current setup, but I've been thinking of reorganizing the space, like full-on reorganizing. I guess I should have done that before I just hung lights in my ceiling. Here we go. Let's go down from the top with this one. This one wants to kind of go crazy with the curl. Come up from the bottom. Go right in the middle. Here we go. Go right in. Sometimes people will take, if you have a bow maker, they'll take a bow maker and they will slide one of the mesh pieces down between the little prongs in there to kind of hold one of the ruffles, and then they put both in at once. I just like to put it right in here and twist it. But that's just another thing you can think of if you find this is a little too challenging. But when I open it back up, it doesn't pop back out at me. It stays put. It knows its place, which is nice. Wish my daughter knew hers, can figure that out. I went to crawl in bed last night and found an open bag of Doritos with all the little tiny chip pieces spread out all over the sheets. So she'd been hanging out in my room gaming because I have more floor space. But she left me some fun little crunchy surprises in the bed. I've told her not to eat food in my room. She knows that. But kids, whatever makes her feel safe. She likes to sit in the spot that her dad used to sleep in. Sometimes she'll still sleep in that room with me, and she'll go sleep in Daddy's spot. It makes her feel closer to him. So I don't want to take that away from her, but I also don't want to wake up covered in orange chips. So, you know, there has to be a compromise somewhere. Maybe if it were Cheetos or something I like to eat, I wouldn't mind so much. But I don't like Doritos. Which works out good for her because she gets them all then. But she will also eat my Cheetos on top of hers. Not fair. Okay. Believe it or not, there is one more set in here. It's kind of hard to see. We got one more set. It's right down in here. Okay. And then we do have one set left over. That is piece number 19. Always good to have that extra, like I said, in case you find a splice. Very rarely have I ever found a splice in the middle of a roll of mesh, but it has happened. So that's why I say cutting 18 is a good, safe length. You get an extra piece. Okay. All right. Cruffle, 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 cruffle. All right. Don't go through the mesh. No, no, no. All right, that's going to go to the side. Bump. Okay, here we go. Here is what it looks like finished. Okay. And the depth on this right now is about 7 inches, I would say. All right, the next thing we're going to do is the sign. Now, let's talk about how I'm going to design this wreath. I don't necessarily know if I'm not going to have big bows on this one. I'm going to do cascades of ribbon with some ribbon tails, some greenery popping out. But the focal point I want to be this sign, okay? So this is going to be centered on this wreath. Now, flip it over. The kit comes with these 2 cable tie mounts. What I did was I removed the adhesive. Let me show you what it looks like with the adhesive on, okay? Take off the adhesive strip because otherwise everything that sticks to this is going to come off, and then boom, the cable tie mount is not on there. Take that off. Put on a dab of E6000 craft glue. That looks like this. It is a silver tube. You can get this at Hobby Lobby. I think you can get it at hardware stores. Definitely Amazon. But you put a pea-sized amount on here, okay? And then you push one on either end. There are holes already in the sign, so we're going to have pipe cleaners in there, and then we'll have pipe cleaners in here. So we have 4 spots that are going to be covered with that. Okay, but once you put that E6000 on there, it takes a while to dry. So what you want to do is go around the edge with your hot glue, making sure that you get it on the plastic cable tie mount as well as on the metal sign. Okay? Okay, what I'm going to do is take this. Now, I could, in the past, I have just gone through and done it centered. which I think I can probably still do on this. Okay, so or if you want more room to work with, sometimes you can just take this, okay, and then just kind of go around like this. So just kind of twist this on here, okay. You can twist that. Maybe I'll do this for that, okay. Do it the other way. And then we're just going to wrap this around the frame, okay. So that's how I'm going to do for this. And then I will try to go the other method for the cable tie mounts on here, okay. Because most of this, like, you're going to see a little bit of red when we flip the sign over for here and here, but it's going to mostly be covered by other things we're going to add. So I'm going to slide that right on through, okay. I'm going to give it a nice twist in the middle, and there we go. It's relatively even. Kind of, sort of, yeah, close enough. Who cares? I'm in my good enough phase of life. Right? Yeah, good enough. Here we go. All right, give it a twist. All right, so when I flip it over, you can see a little bit of the red, but that's okay because we've got stripes in here. It blends, and we're going to have other stuff on top of it covering it, okay? So, now I usually, if it's like a thinner pancake wreath, I will try to work it like a clock with 12, 3, 6, and 9. Here, I don't think it really matters. These are kind of spread all throughout. There's like 9 tines, so I'm just going to kind of try to go through here. I want to keep this centered, so I'm going to start with the longer ones. Now, I am going to try to kind of go over one of these spots here. I'm going to try to put it through. See, here's when you can separate these mesh, and see that? I call this the butt crack, okay? So you can separate out the cheeks of the mesh. And I'm going to bring this pipe cleaner down. I want to go under at least the second ring, if not more. Okay, so that one's under. I'll do the same over here. I haven't twisted on anything yet. It's just kind of laying there, okay? Bring this down, go through, go under ring 2. Let's see how well I did when I flip this over. Flip. All right, cool. This one is not under ring 2, it's only under ring 1, okay? So I got this and this. Now I want to make sure, now that I know that where those are at, make sure that this is centered well, okay? See how it kind of, it moved over to the side a little bit. I want to make sure this is nice and centered. All right, bring this over. Okay, now I'm just going to take this one, I'm going to wrap it around both rings 1 and 2. Okay, I'm going to get this first one, and then I will flip it over and show you what I did. Okay, so right now I still have it a little loose, so I can kind of pull if I need to and kind of still adjust this. But I don't want it to be squished in. I want it to lay nicely on top of the mesh. Okay, maybe just slightly tighter. All right, and then it's going to wrap this around. I'm just keeping wrapping it around the frame. And then at some point, it's going to get to like a small little piece. And I just wrapped it around the frame. Okay. The whole point is to make sure nothing is sticking out or sharp. Okay. Do that with this one. Go, just wrapping this around. All right, making sure that looks good. You can still kind of adjust the centering if you need to. Also, you can see sometimes it frays a little bit. You can just snip that. There we go. Okay, we still have these 2 on the sides with the cable tie mount. So now I want to go and make sure that those get attached. So one goes on the inside of like ring 1, the other is going to go around like ring 2. Okay, so I'm just kind of, again, I don't want to put the pipe cleaners through the mesh. Okay. All right. Here we go. I like to have it around rings 1 and 2. It just adds more stability to it. Okay. I'm just going to give it a nice twist. Okay. And just bend it back down and wrap it around the rest of that. I don't want to cut these because what if I decide I want to move it, right? What if I'm like, oh, that's a little off. I'm not sure I like it. I want to move it around, which you can do, right? None of this is glued on yet, so you can do whatever the heck you want with this right now. All right. Cut that. The straight chin here. All right. I'm going to go grab this again and this over. All right. Flip it. Sometimes when you've done this enough, you can do this without having to flip it over, but I just wanted you to be able to see what I was doing. All right. Just kind of wrap the rest around. So here we go. Here we go. Established 1776. I was 3 when we had our America's 200th anniversary. I don't remember it at all. Okay, so the next thing we want to talk about is ribbon, my friends. We're going to talk about ribbon. Let me bring my ribbon over. We're going to work with cascades. Okay, a lot of times I've got on other videos, if you want to just do ribbon tails, I have a video that is a happy Easter sign with an Easter bunny. It's a square sign with a mint colored background and a white Easter bunny. Use that one if you just strictly want to do tails and a big bow, okay? This one, we're just going to do cascades. So, these are going to be our main 2 ribbons for the cascades. Let me open these up and we can check these out. Again, this is where I see the most difference in how people make their wreaths is where do they want the bow? How do they want it to be? Do they even want one at all? Okay, so when we make cascades, what a cascade is, it starts as a tail, and then it will loop over like a roller coaster. It can go over 1, it can go over 2. It doesn't matter how many you go over. Don't go more than 2. And then it comes out with another set of tails. So it gives you ribbon coverage without having to cut all those extra tails. So it does save you some ribbon. Now we're going to have to be careful here because you'll see this print is directional. So it says USA on it. We're going to have to be careful because we don't want anything. Then it looks like VSN. We don't want that. Nope. All right. So this one is going to be my bottom print because this one has the writing on it. So I'm going to go like that. We're going to layer these together. Okay. So I want to do, I'm actually going to start on the top of the wreath going over, but I want you guys to be able to see this. Uh-oh, hold on. I pulled too tight and my cable tie mount came off of this one. Okay. There we go. Just adding extra hot glue in there to hold it in place. It happens. I only put the E6000 on the back of this about 20 minutes before we started this live because I did a little last minute changeroo. So if you use a regular E6000, let it dry for a while before you try to use it on the sign. I pulled too hard. I think that's what happened. But it's an easy fix. Easy fix, guys. Okay? All right, so I'm going to put my ribbon over here. The wreath is now upside down. That is the bottom. This is the top. Okay? All right, I'm going to cut both of these ribbons. They were bent because it was the start of the roll, so I'm going to get a nice fresh edge to start with. Okay, so I'm just cutting that edge. All right, keeping them layered on top of each other. So I'm going to pinch a tail. This is about a 7-inch tail because I'm going to be dovetailing it, okay? I'm putting this on the outside ring, okay? All right. I'm going to put this in. I guess it would be more like the 2 o'clock position on the wreath. I'm putting that in here. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a nice twist. Okay? Now I'm keeping this layered like this. I could go over 1 and just have a little loop, but I want it to be more dramatic, so I'm going to go over 2. Okay? I'm going to go over 2 of these here. All right, I'm going to give it a nice pinch. Now I'm going to open this up. Now here's where you want to make sure you're really paying attention. I don't want this tight across here. Okay, that's too tight. I want it just gently resting on the top. Maybe a little extra give. Okay. There we go. It's kind of just gently on the top. And then I'm going to cut what I hope is close to a 7-inch tail over here. Okay. Now we're going to put these together and we're going to dovetail. All right, so put the ends together and then cut angled outside toward the wires. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with the one down here. It is definitely trickier because we have the diagonal ribbon, but that's all right. We just pay a little extra attention and it'll be fine. All right, so I am going to start by I'm going to have the USA go toward the back, pulling USA toward the back. Then I'm going to separate these out a little bit. The USA goes up toward the top, and then the red, white, and blue stripe down on the bottom. You can give it a little tug if you want a little bit more room in there. Feel free to do it. It works. And then we're going to go down here the opposite. I like to go opposites, right? So USA bottom, USA top, USA bottom. Okay? What you end up with is something that looks like this. Okay? And that's kind of our top little cascade. We're going to continue to do that around the rest of the wreath here. I'm going to go do some more cascades. Let's go down from this way, coming down this way. And I think I'm going to put in some small ribbons with this and maybe some other ones. We'll do some little bows. That's where this 1.5 inch is going to come into play. Okay? So I like to start with a dovetail sometimes because I'm just weird like that. I'm afraid if I don't dovetail it when I start, I'm going to forget. And then I'll find a wreath that doesn't have a dovetail. Okay, so we're going to come up here. Cascade, cascade. Here. That looks good. Okay. I'm going to do that. Okay, again, double checking. It's about a 7-inch tail. Okay, opening this up, putting that in the bottom. And then we have to work our way up because it's directional. Yay! Fun times. All right. Keeping these layered over each other. Going over this one, going over that one. That might actually be a little too much. I think I just want to go over one because I'm worried if I bring it up this way. That's too big of a cascade. I don't want to do that. All right, so I'm going to bring this in. We're going to go here. Okay, putting it in. All right, give myself a little bit extra, a little bit more, a little bit more. All right, I think that'll be good. USA goes down, USA comes up. I'm making sure that I like how much I have in here before I cut this other tail, okay? But you see how we're getting that ribbon effect, but we don't have to use as much ribbon. So we're getting the coverage without having to use as much material. And it's super fun. All right. Keep these over each other. Boom, boom, and a boom. Yay! All right. Okay. I kind of like that there's space. Otherwise, it would have been tails butting up against tails, and that would be kind of a lot of tails. All right. And then our next set, we're going to work between here and here, okay? So I think that'll be good. So let's... There we go. That helps. Okay. I'm going to dovetail to start. And I have to start down here. So let me move these back over here. Come on, pretty babies. All right. Okay. Boop. Boop-de-boop. And open this set right here. Is that enough? I think so. Double check. And maybe a little bit looser, so pull just a little bit more. You can always pull it back later if you decide it's a little too loosey-goosey, but we want to separate it out. We don't want to hide this red, white, and blue pattern one. So sometimes you can even pull just a little extra on the bottom one, you know, if we need to. That'll work. Okay. Awesome sauce. Okay. Now at this point, let's step back and take a look at what we have. Okay. Here is our USA wreath. Bend your tails, like go under from behind and push it up a little bit to make sure it gets like a nice little good. So it's got a little kick behind it, okay? Here's where we are on the outside. Now we do have some stuff here on the inside, right? We need to bring in some of the feels of some of the ribbon. This is where I'm going to kind of rely on bringing in some of the 1.5, kind of mixing it in with some of these other bows. So I think, let me open this up. Can I tell you a secret? I haven't thought this part through yet. So you guys are going to work through it with me. Okay, so here's what the cascades look like right now before we start anything else. That's your full shot of what this looks like from above. Okay. Now I think like around here and some of these spots, I want to do like a little, maybe there and here and there. I want to do like a little bow action up here and a little bow action down here. So I'm going to make sure I got my little ties right there. Okay. It's looking good. I'm trying to decide if I want to put another pattern underneath it, or if I just want to go with this as it is. I think what I'm going to do is put some tails, some little small tails, and then I'm going to put like a little bow in there. So let's see. So I'm going to cut, let's measure out 14 inches. Okay. Measure 14 inches and cut to give me a set of tails. Do a dovetail. Bend those ends together and then cut on an angle inward. Okay. Bend them in half. See, these aren't super long tails. Once you get a cut, once it's dovetailed, it's 13 inches. Okay. So I can come in here. I think I want to add some tails like this. Oh, I'm going to go the other way. Directional ribbon. Directional ribbon. Glad I caught that. Okay. So see, these are kind of coming on an X, on a diagonal like that. This one has to be going up top there. I think I'm going to add in some more. So let's add in, let's cut like 2 or 3 extra sets of this at 14 inches. Okay. Set 1. We're going to put this one. Let's put it right there. That's where we're going to go. All right. Dovetail in. Okay. Now again, I got to watch. That's going to be upside down if I do it that way, so I got to do it this way. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do here. I thought, or maybe here. Here and there. We'll see. I'm going to open that up. Let's cut some more 14s. All right, so let's chat, my friends. I'm going to bring this up in Facebook. I'm trying to make sure I can see all the new comments. 7 new comments. Hello, Tanika. The tails that I'm cutting right now are 14 inches. Typically, when I cut ribbon tails for most projects, I go 14 inches because when we dovetail them, it ends up being like 13. I'm sorry if there were other questions that came by that I didn't get to answer. It could be a patriarch Valentine. Yeah, it could be. It could be. Maybe our love was established in 1776. I am the ghost of George Washington. I am not. Here we go. All right, bend it over. Here we go. Nope, that's totally upside down. We don't want that. Paying attention. This is the top of the wreath, so I got to make sure that my writing is going the correct way. Okay. I'm going to put in another set of tails. 14 inches. All right. I think I have an idea. Oh, that could be dangerous, Linda. That could be dangerous. Oh my gosh. It is dangerous. Never trust a woman with a glue gun. I'm kidding. All right, and I'm putting this direction so it goes the right way. Now, I still have that 1.5 inch ribbon. You're like, you haven't used that yet. What are you doing with that, girl? I don't know. What I'm thinking of doing is using it to make a cute little 1.5 inch loop bow for up top and one for down bottom. I just didn't want like super big loops, so I think we're gonna do that. Let's play around. Let's play. I'm bringing over my bow maker. I use the Easy Bows Design Pro. It is my favorite thing in the whole world. Let me move this off to the side. There we go. There we go. Much better room. Okay. So this is 1.5 inch scalloped edge ribbon, which I love. Okay. So I want to make first a little bow for the top. Now, this one's not going to have long tails because if I put long tails on this wreath, it's going to come down and it's going to hit over the wording. So I'm going to do a bow that just has equal sized tails and loops. So I think I'm going to do, I'll do a 6-inch tail, pinch and twist. So I'm looking at the back side of the ribbon, bring it on over. We're going to do a 5-inch loop, 5-inch loop, a 5-inch loop, a 5-inch loop, and then a tail. We are going to have this be more of a bow that kind of goes like a little angled side to side. Okay, so I'm going to take one of the pipe cleaners. All right, I'm going to make this just a tiny little bow. Just put that down there. Give it a nice good twist, okay? All right. So I'm going to make sure that the tail goes kind of between the loops, okay? But I want to pinch these together to kind of like make sure that we don't see that pipe cleaner in the middle. And that will end up kind of going up on top there. It's kind of like a cute little big wonky bow. Now this one on the bottom, I can have longer tails because there's nothing below it. Did you see when I cut that scalloped edge that sometimes a weird piece hangs off? Just snip it. It's like when you get a haircut and you notice that there's like one hair longer than the others. Just trim it. Okay. This one is going to come down. So this one is going to have a tail that's 9 inches. Pinch and twist. I'm going to do 5 inches. Pinch and twist on the right. 5 inches. Pinch and twist on the left, 5 inches. All right, land that over the other one. Pinch and twist on the right, 5 inches. Oh, but I'm going to keep going because I want this one to be bigger. Pinch and twist. We have 3 loops now. I want more. Let's do 4. Yeah, we're going to do 5. I'm crazy. I'm living on the edge. Hold me back. She's out of control. I am. All right. Now these are all going to kind of be nice and pinched together. I don't have to worry about a center loop on this one. I'm not doing that kind of bow for this. And then this is going to cut off at like a little past 9. Okay. And then we're going to dovetail this. All right. Boop. All right. I have to get all my little pieces off the workspace because that's how I have to work. All right, I'm going to grab this whole thing. Coming up here. Here we go. Here we go. I'll grab the pipe cleaner. I'm going to go around, make sure it's equal. Okay, and then just give it a good, nice, tight twist. There we go. Move this back behind me, along with the other ribbons, because it's going to be greenery time in a minute. All right, I'm going to pull these tails down and then just really open up and yank these loops. If you give them a nice good tug and put your fingers in the loops, that's what you want. You want to spread out and a nice, give it a good tug. All right, this one's got a weird little string in there. Let me snip that string. You find that sometimes on the ribbons. Not a big deal. All right. I just wanted a simple, sweet little bow. I'm going to do one at the top, one at the bottom. Let's put the bottom one on first. Okay. So I don't want to put it through the same hole that's there. I'm going to kind of go underneath the sign, kind of back to where it was. All right. I am around at least ring 1 and ring 2, and I'm just going to bring it in and twist the ends together. Okay, just like we did for the sign. I'm just pulling it in, twisting my ends together. All right, so that they make one solid piece, and then I'm just going to push that back into the wreath. All right, I like this. It's cute. It's a bow, but it's not super huge, which is kind of what I wanted. I want something that wasn't going to be, I don't want anything massive, but I want to pinch these together so that we don't see the mechanics of the pipe cleaner under there. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to swing her around and go this way. I could have made more loops on top, but I just didn't want it to be too overwhelming, right? I just kind of wanted to do just a little bit on the top. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Go where the sign was. All right, and come in on the other side. But see, now we're putting in the greenery and stuff. This is where it gets fun. This is the fun part. I mean, the bow making was fun too. Don't get me wrong. I love me a good bow. All right. Give it a nice tug and twist. Put it around the frame. Eek. I'm at that age where I can't see anything now unless there's light directly shining on it. All right. We can kind of bring these tails down a little bit, right? But not too much. So we want to kind of make sure that those are together. These are loops. So these are just some quick, cute, little, gentle, small loops. And it covers the pipe cleaner spot that we had where the sign is. All right. Okay. So now that we are looking at, here is our wreath. We could stop here, but why? We have greenery and florals, my friends. Greenery and florals. Okay. And star picks. So let's bring them all over. I want to get the labels off. I do have these star picks available by themselves, the greenery by itself in my shop. The florals did not come from my shop. Those came from Craft Outlet. All right. I haven't yet decided if I'm going to keep these picks together or if I'm going to separate them out into several pieces and just kind of add them in here and there, which is, I think, what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put those over to that side. We're going to talk greenery, and then I think the flowers are going to come later. So right now I'm just going to look at the greenery. Oh, I'm glad these colors look good on screen. They are really popping here for me. Okay, so this is our mixed greenery bush. And you can see that there's 3 sections to this, okay? I do want to pull these apart. Boop. Ew, let's not get that on the wreath, okay? We've got these 3 sections you can pull apart. This one is on a nice big stem. I don't want to pull that off the main stem. I'm going to cut it, like right down here. All right. Save the stems. You never know when you're going to need it. If you know, you know. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. So we're going to have 6 pieces of greenery that we can kind of mix as we go around. But we don't want to put it in just yet. Okay? Some of the berries might kind of pop off a little bit. That's normal. We want to fluff these out. So let me fluff one and then we'll compare it to one that's not fluffed. You want to separate out all the individual pieces. This, you know, it's been in a bag. It's been squished. This is the equivalent of coming home from work and taking off your bra. Like, you want to spread it out, air it out, baby. Look at the difference in coverage between this and this. There's a huge difference, right? So we want to spread all this out. I like to do it all before I put it on because sometimes when I get in the mood to glue, I kind of forget to do that, okay? Here we go. Spreading this out. Now, I will go back and tell you, like, some of the, so the main long piece that comes up the center has this little weird wire in there. It's kind of like a twig. You can wrap it around your finger and then kind of like give it a little tug and it makes a little curl and then it doesn't stick out quite so far. All right. Spread out. Here we go. Spread out. Air out those boobies, girls. There we go. There we go. Okay. So let's talk about where we think we're going to put this. We could put them like in here in some of these spots, like where the cascades meet. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 of those, right? But this does kind of stick out a little bit further, so I'd have to make sure I really get it in close to the center. We could also go in and perhaps add it like right in here. You know, kind of like feeding it in here so it's kind of sticking out the center. But I want to make sure that we have room for the roses. Okay, I definitely like the room for the roses to kind of be in there as well. So those will kind of be a little scattered throughout. But I think based on how far things are sticking out, I kind of think I want to put some of this greenery maybe in the, it looks weird on the top. I'm going to put it on the bottom. So we're going to open this up. I'm going to open up one of these. Okay. Open it up. I can probably cut off a little bit extra. So I want to leave at least about 2 inches on the bottom. Okay. And you're going to take either your hot glue gun or your glue pot. I'm going to add some glue. And I can add more later if I want to. Not too much though, because you're going to have to get your fingers in there for these ties. All right, so I want to find a path where I can get this in there nice and deep. Okay. Here we go. Up to like kind of where the berries start. Then I want to give it a nice, good, tight twist. Okay. And then we're going to separate this all out. Okay, so make sure it's got lots of room to breathe. You can bend things how you want. Make sure it takes up a lot of space. All right, so that's our first one. And don't forget too, your cascades are going to kind of want to naturally flatten back to each other. Keep pulling them out. Keep separating them out. now I'm going to take one of the pieces that has that weird little center thing. Okay. We're going to put that one in here. So I'm going to open this up. I'm making an executive decision that I'm going to add in the glue afterwards because I have a feeling the way things are going for me today, I will burn myself. So in order to avoid me dropping F-bombs like you wouldn't believe, I'm just going to twist that in there. Okay. It's in there. It's twisted. Nice. Separate out. Now I'm going to go back in and hit that with the glue gun. So it's going to grab the mesh. It's going to grab the ribbon. Okay. And then the nice thing is these berries are right there, so it's going to hide. You don't really even see the ties. I mean, they're there, but they're not super obvious. Okay. All right, we're bringing this around. And again, you can put your stuff wherever you want to. Okay. I might even put a little, I might come back and put some tails in there, I think, honestly. We'll do that at the end. Okay, this is separated out. I'm going to cut some of this off. All right, not too much. We still want it to stay together. Okay, I've opened this up. I'm putting it in there. I kind of angle it down and kind of get it right to where the berries are right before the ties. And then I'm going to go give it my good, at least 2 twists. Okay. Going to separate this out. All right. That needs to go that way. You're backwards, buddy. What you want to do? All right. I'll go in and hit this with some glue. All right. I'm going to go grab another glue stick. I should have had one at the ready. I use Gorilla glue sticks. They are my favorite. Do I have personal preference? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I love the Gorilla glue sticks. They're the best. All right. Going around here. The next spot, we're going to add in a little bit of this. Now, the problem is that these two are real close to each other, so I'm going to have to maybe kind of spread one way, kind of coming up this way, and the other one kind of going down the other way so they don't look too close. Put the glue stick in the glue gun, Linda. I'm so fixated on lunch. I can't think of anything else. All right, that is in there nice and tight. Okay, fixing my cascades. Okay, and I've got my 2 more spots here. And if you want more greenery too, I do sell the greenery by itself in my shop. So if you want to add more greenery, you can always buy the kit and then get more greenery. It's my favorite mixed greenery bush. There was a time when like it became so popular with Deco Exchange, because they have it too, that like we would get notified that it was in, and we would all like fly there online as fast as possible before it all sold out. But I got some in. I opened it up last night. I have Halloween. It's black with hot pink, which is that. Those are my colors. That is my jam. Black and hot pink. It's amazing. And then black with purple and lime green. So if you're doing like a witch project, which I do have some witch hat grapevine shapes that are going to be kits that will come out in a few months. That's going to be awesome. Okay, here again is the twigs. So let's grab our twigs. Okay, and I'm just going to give it a twist around my finger. Now it just shortens it. It's still there. We don't want to take it out, right? Because it's adding coverage. But we don't need it sticking out like that. That looked a little cray-cray. All right. Going in with this. There we go. You can go in further. If you wanted to put this greenery up above a level, you could do that too. Like this is just personal preference as to how people like like to do this. Okay, so for right now, let me go out further on my above camera so we can see what this all looks like with the greenery in here. So cute, so pretty. Make sure to kind of spread that out a bit. I do feel like right here I want a set of tails because there's a gap, and to me it bothers me, so I'm just going to cut really quick. 2 pieces of ribbon. I'm going to cut 14-inch tail. Okay. Doesn't have to be exact. It's not science. Because if it were science, I would fail. Yeah, science is not my thing. Because it has math. And I don't math. I'm a creative. I am not an analytical. Except I was a business analyst. But that was kind of different. I was not a data analyst. There's a difference. Business analyst is, okay, tell me what you need for your business. What are your struggles? What are your goals? What problems do we need to solve? Data analyst is looking at numbers. Not my jam. That's why I turned to this instead. Here we go. Okay, so this one, all right, this will be good. I'm checking the direction of the ribbon. Just trying to make sure it looks good. All right. The direction. And see how I'm kind of like bending it up, popping it up. It lays nicer that way. Okay, so now we have that. I'm going to bring over now our rose bush. Okay, here's our rose bush. Came from Craft Outlet. These are like rose buds, so they're not full on blooming. You can put your fingers in there and spread them out, make them a little bit bigger, which is kind of what I might want to do. Yeah. Make them bloom a little bit. Here we go. Bloom, baby, bloom. I wish it had been a fuller bush, but I kind of like that it's not going to be too massive. The only one with the full bush here is me. But bump. Thank you. Next show's at 10. Try the veal. I'm terrible. All right. Just put my fingers in there and just kind of open it up a little bit. All right. Now, these have pushers. These are leaves that you can push up. We want to push the leaves up. We don't want to leave the leaves at the bottom because we don't want to cut them off. We want to use as much greenery as we can. I mean, if you don't like the leaves, you don't have to use them, but I like them. Okay, so I'm going to start. Let's start with the blue one. Okay. Figure out where do we want to go. I want to start adding. To me, I like the roses kind of more like around the top because if I put them around the bottom, you're not really going to see them so much. We could put some like down in here, but I'm going to start like because there's nothing right here. Okay, so I'm a little weird because it's Chicago. I want to make sure that we get a lot of really good coverage. So I'm gonna open those ties in there that are holding that in there. Okay. I'm gonna add glue onto the stem. All right, I've added hot glue. Now I'm gonna poke this in here, kind of on a little bit of an angle, and then I'm gonna retwist. Anytime I can twist something in and give it extra coverage and support, I am gonna do it. All right, and then you can kind of bend these. These bend. So you can kind of bring them up and out a little bit. So we got one there. I'm going to cut off a bunch. So I'm cutting off where there's at least probably 4 inches between the end of the stem and the top of the bud. Okay, let's see where we want this one. I like the idea of just kind of adding them around on the outside, and then we'll add the extras in other places down there. Okay, open this up, pop it in, retwist. Now I'm not squishing the leaves when I retwist, okay? There we go. Okay, I don't want to go white. I want to kind of keep my pattern. I really don't want 2 of the same color next to each other. And maybe if this is too matchy-matchy for you, you can put them wherever you want in here, okay? This is your wreath. Do with it what you like to do. Just make sure the stem is kind of going down and into that so that we don't want to see any green stem coming across, but we're not going to because there's a lot of that there. So I had blue. I'm going to do the matchy-matchy thing. I started with white over there. I'm going to do white over here. I know, some people don't like it. But to me, my brain likes to see things symmetrical, and if they're not, it bugs my brain a lot. All right. All right. It's looking pretty. Yay, my reattached cable tie mount is holding. Fantastic. Yay. We'll go down with this one. All right, now I'm going to a blue. Okay, getting my hot glue. I don't want to put the glue on. Don't glue over your project because the glue will fall onto your stuff and then you'll get mad. All right, I glue off to the side, but sometimes you're going to get little globs. If it happens, let the glue mostly dry. Don't try to get it off right away. You'll just smear it and make it worse. Okay? All right, let's get a red. I'm going to try to figure out where I'm going to put those red, white, blue stars too. The picks. I kind of have a feeling I'm going to pull them apart and just kind of like slide them in spots here and there. Okay, we have used 6 of the florals. We still have a lot left, so now we can kind of take it down and start looking at this layer down here, right? So maybe we can start adding some florals down in here if we want to, kind of like peeking out from under the cascades. 1, 2. Well, here's the thing. We have 3 cascades, right? 3 big main cascades. I could put these kind of coming in. Let's play around. Let's play. I'm just going to put them in here, just setting them in here for now. But I could do something like this. We, of course, want to spread them out. We can have that coming out kind of from the cascade. And what that's going to kind of do is help kind of bridge the gap between all these things going around. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it now before I add in the rest of the roses. Crazy, right? I know. You could pull these apart. You could put them in individually, but I want to keep them together because that creates more bulk. Okay, I'm going to cut this off. I left about 2 inches, okay? I'm going to put some glue on the stem. Again, I've opened up the ties. I'm going to push that in. All right. And I'm going to retwist. All right. Separate these out. Make sure that the stars aren't too far underneath your cascade, okay? Now that I like that, I'm lifting up the ribbon, going back in, and I'm adding in extra glue now, okay? There we go. USA coming up top. USA up top, yo! Okay. And then we had 1 set of cascades over here. Separate these out. Trim so that there's about a good 2 inches of stem from here down to the bottom. Add a little bit of glue just for initial hold. We're going to slide it in, right? We don't want to hit the mesh. We want to go between, you can go between the mesh cracks. Give it a good 2 or 3 twists within the ties. That's going to give you extra support. And then spread these out. Make sure that your wires stay straight. And kind of pull them down because these kind of come up. So this kind of helps fill in the bottom gap here. Okay. And then our last one is over here. Okay. Separate these. I'm so excited how this turned out. I'm so excited. It's going to be so cute. I love Patriotic Decor. It's so colorful. I am, however, terrified of sparklers and fireworks being too close. I'm afraid of fire. So, you know, that makes for an interesting time of 4th of July. I'm hitting something. I want to make sure I'm getting a good, there we go. I want to get really in there. All right. All right. I can straighten these out. Go back, hit it with extra glue on the mesh, on the ties, all that stuff. And spread these out. I'm going to pull these down. Okay, so now all we're left with is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 roses. All right, let's push these flowers, or the leaves up just a little bit more. And I'm just going to cut them all off at once. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have actually 8 because I already one cut, so I have 8. I think I'm going to go back. I would kind of like to put roses in here, kind of like on the top of this, right? Just to kind of add it right in there. I just think it needs a little bit of something, so I'm actually going to cut this off a little bit more. Now, I'm not going to undo the stems that I've already gone in and put the greenery in with. I'm just going to kind of put this in there. If you can kind of get around it and under it or near it, that is good, right? Push it in a little further, and then I'm going to add some glue to make sure it's hitting all the other stuff it should be hitting. We don't want to see mechanics. These leaves, they come in handy because then they'll hide that little gap. All right. We got one there. All right. We have red rose, so I think we have to go blue here. All right. Adding this, adding the glue onto the stem. But again, it's wherever you feel you want to put it. If you don't want to put it where I'm putting it, then don't. You can put them in lots of different ways. You don't have to go in as far as I am with it. You can, but you don't have to. Maybe I can open up the stem actually, so maybe I can still get it in there. Some of these will still open if I didn't put too much glue on there. Yeah. I just like having the added security of it being twisted in there, just because here in Chicago, I mean, it doesn't have to be winter. The wind is crazy sometimes. You know, we get those lovely things called tornadoes, which are not our favorite. I don't even get scared at tornado warnings anymore. I'm just like, oh, all right, well, if it hits, let me know. I was very cavalier, nonchalant about it until one kind of came through, and I should have been in the basement, and I found out that it was like literally 2 blocks from our house. Like, I need to not be so arrogant in the future. Mama Nature needs a little bit more respect. Okay, I'm going to go in with the white one here, because I had a lot of red, and that was a blue, so we're going to go in with a white. All right. See if I can untwist this one. Now that was twisted pretty good, so I'm going to be able to kind of put that in there and put that in kind of like with the mesh and where all that is. All right. Sometimes you can even just take your little twisty and just wrap it around the stem. Right? So you don't even have to undo it, but it just gives you that extra coverage. And the baby's breath and the leaf kind of cover it, so that looks really nice. I'm going to go in with a red here. I think a red with the baby's breath. All right. Adding that on here. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. We're at the finish line. Yay. All right. Gonna wrap that around. I just love using the wire that's already there. Some people would just stick it in and let it go, but... And it also, if you're a beginner trying to figure out how to put florals in, it's just a good way to kind of practice and use it, and then you know it's secure. It's all about security. With me, it's all about insecurity. Yeah. All right, I got enough flowers where I'm going to go stick one here. This is the spot where it's just a tie. So I am going to put in a blue one. Push that all the way up. Now this one I can undo because there's nothing in there. All right, it's just that, putting that. Here we go, put that in and give it a good twisty. I don't want to twist the leaves in there, I just want to get the stem, okay? Bend it up a little, add some extra glue. And there we go. Nice and purty. Purty, purty. There we go. That looked a little off center. I don't like that. Because sometimes the ties are not evenly spaced. That drives me nuts as well. Making me crazy. All right, we're going to go in with a red. Probably just going to wrap, let it on, put it on top, and then use that longer red tinsel tie to kind of wrap around. So here we go. Putting that in. Wrap the tie around just for some extra added stability. Okay, I can push this down. All right, and extra glue. Boop. Perfect. All right. So we've gone all the way around, almost. We've got one here. I'm going to have to put in a red because I got a red, white, and then blue. All right, push this up. Let's cut off some excess. One last stop, and then I got one floral left over, but I don't necessarily think I'm going to use it anywhere. All right, bring these back over. Twist. It's harder to put in greeneries into a mesh wreath, in my opinion. It's much easier to do it on a grapevine. Okay, I have one left. I could put it in the center, but I think there's enough already. I'm going to leave that off. I think, my friends, I think we are done. Let me do a final look and fluff. Okay. Wow. Well, holy cow. That was quite the wreath making here. All right. I'm going to show my friends overhead first. This is what your finished wreath looks like when you have made it in a kit. Okay. I'm going to pick it up and we're going to go all around. Okay. So there we go. I'm going to hold it up. This is the top. Okay. Now we're going down toward the bottom. You can kind of see the cascades, how we have added the different picks and greenery and everything. All right, here is for my Facebook friends. I want to make sure you guys can see this. There we go. There's a delay, there's a lag, so I want to make sure you guys get a good view. Boy, there is a real long lag. Okay, here we go, here we go. You can get a good view, so here we go. Here's our cascades, our tails, our picks, everything that we've put in this giant, beautiful baby. Again, you can get extra ribbon, mesh, greenery, and the star picks, and the frame in my shop, Sweet Aria Decor, period C-O-M. Sorry. Social media does not like it when you mention websites or other platforms, so I have to be very careful, all right? I have so many more kits available already and lots more that are coming this year, so I really appreciate it. And if you go to my shop and enter code THANKS from Aria, THANKS FROMARIA, all one word, you can save 10% on your orders from my shop, okay? Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you guys watching. I'm so excited to celebrate America's birthday this year.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can shop all of my items at sweetariadecor.com, and you can follow me all over social media.